Hi everyone, Jane here again. Thank you for joining me on my channel today. Welcome if you are new and welcome back if you have been here before. I thought today I'd have a little look at this collage book from Maremi's Small Art. It's a book that I bought a couple of months ago and I haven't got round to taking a look at yet. Now it is called the Halloweeny range, but I didn't get it for that reason. I'm not really into Halloween that much, and I don't do a lot of art and craft based around that time of year. The reason I bought it was mostly because I thought these little characters, even though they are suitable for if you do like that sort of time of year, they're such cute little characters. I thought that they would be lovely just to have in my crafting. So I'm always finding hairs. You don't need to know that, but I'm going to share that with you right now. I'm always finding hairs. I think I'm constantly molting like a cat. So I thought we'd have a quick flick through of the Spooky Personas book, and it says too cute to spook, and they are definitely cute. I thought they were cute little characters. If you're not interested in seeing a flip through, or you don't want it spoilt for you because you might be, want to buy the book and you don't want to know exactly what's in it, then do please fast forward to the project. And what I will do is here on the video and also in the description box, I will put you a time of when the actual project starts, because what I'm going to do is once I've done the flip through, I will do an actual project which I will put on a time lapse with a voiceover of me using this book. So with all said and done, I'm going to start the flip through. So this is the beautiful cover, as always, that beautiful velvety matte sort of finish, and lots of inspiration from the actual book. So I'm just checking that it's in the right place. Right, and then inside we've got, hello friends, thank you for your support by purchasing my book, and that's a little message from Marta. This is an older book, as in this was from last year, obviously before October, I should imagine. So there's less books here than there would be now. But that's the books that were available at the time. And she always gives you these extra little bits here so that you can cut these out as well. And then on here we got our copyright information and some more. Now I won't spend ages over each page because you can see the pictures. But what I like about this, I love these little characters. To be fair, even if you're not into Halloween or spookiness, just as like superhero Batman type costumes for children. So if you've got, if you know children who are into their Batman sort of things, that would be ideal. I love all the birds. All the birds are just suitable for everything. Absolutely gorgeous background page on this one. I do love that. So if there's a page you don't like, use that background. So he is adorable. That's such a lovely image. And again, all this beautiful background imagery that you can use. I'm loving on the moon. I'm loving all the splats and this sort of grungy sort of look. Lots of moons and things in here. Obviously you've got the pumpkins, but if that's what you want to do. But this little girl here, there's nothing that shouts Halloween about this. She's got a sunflower in her hair. She's just dressed up with this massive hat, so she's gorgeous. I love her. And I think as well this book would go really well with the little personas with that steampunk look. Again, love the birds. This fairy tale to me, very much fairy tale. I love that strip there. I think I would be tempted to sort of cut her out and then use that coloured part there within a page on its own. It's gorgeous. Planets, lots of planets that you could cut out, lots of leaves, foliage. And again, if you didn't want these on her head, you could cut those off of the hairband. She's just got a hairband. You could cut the wings off if you just want that little girl. So what I think I'm trying to say is, don't just see things as they are. Think of how they can be adapted for what you might like to use them for. I love all the jars. Jars are, I have a big issue with containers. Boxes, jars, tins, bottles. I tend to hoard them, and yeah, it's not good. But look, she's got a little dragon's tail and dragon wings. That's fantastic. But you don't have to have them on there if you don't want to. You can cut those off. So they're all so snippable, so adaptable. Let's get a bit quicker because otherwise I will be taking forever. I love that. Has that beautiful moon. And if you wanted, you could cut it and then have it on the edge of your page. You don't have to have the whole thing. So gorgeous. Another one with a beautiful background. So you've got a real selection of your focal images, all different sizes, words as well. So we've got some Halloween-y type words on that one. Oh, what was on the page? Again, that beautiful moon there. Pumpkins are ideal also for Harvest Festival. I love these. Oh, look at that one. That's gorgeous. Oh, I'm tempted. And that one with the little pumpkin sort of stalk on its head. They're absolutely beautiful images. I just love them. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's just go through more words, more pumpkins. These, you know, you've got some that are harvesty. You've got some that are more magical. You've got some that are more for Halloween, but you know, a real mix. And I mean, I love bats. We live right near a little woodland, and we do actually have bats in there. And when it's dusky, more so in, you know, in the summer, we see them. They're flying around outside. They're tiny little things. They're gorgeous. I love bats. I don't know if I'd like it in the house, but I do love watching them flying around. They're amazing. Again, so that's very much linking into that industrial sort of personas look there. And then you've got these sentiments, nothing to do with Halloween, nothing to do with autumn, all to do with the moon. It's absolutely stunning sentiments. The moon is the lamp of the sky, the sun is the fire of the day. I mean, absolutely beautiful, and all the different sort of colours that you could find. It's, you know, it wasn't my first choice of book. I didn't, when it first came out, I have to admit, I wasn't interested. And then I think I saw a video of Marta's where she was using some of the characters in this. It might have been on a jumbo card. I will link her channel in the description box below. And I have to admit, that was made me go, oh, actually, I think these characters would really suit the sorts of pages that I like to make. And then at the back we've got our bonus page. Obviously this was before the autumn collection came out, so there's lots of autumn sort of themed ideas of what you might find in the other book, the next book. And then we've got the information about Marta's YouTube channel, all her different social medias, the Facebook group if you're not involved in that. And then and as always, absolutely stunning covers to these books. They're a work of art within themselves. So that is the Spooky Personas book. I did remember that I have this tissue paper. We went to Harry Potter. I get told off because I call it Harry Potter World. It's not Harry Potter World. It is Warner Brothers Studio Harry Potter Experience, I think. We went just before Christmas to see Harry Potter in the Snow, and when you buy things in the shop, they give you them wrapped in this fabulous, I've got everybody's, can you tell, tissue that's got all printing to do with the Harry Potter series. And it's like newspapers. It's like a newspaper print. So I kept it all because I thought that would make a really lovely bit of collage. And I'm thinking I might use a bit of that to go with some of these. And because it is, you know, this lovely vintage look on here as well, I thought I'd use my Dina Wakley Ledger Journal to be the backdrop for this spread. So that is what I intend to do next. So I'd love it if you could watch the next part of the video and see me doing that. And everything that I use I will list in the description box below, and I will link the book in the description box as well if it's something you're interested in. And I hope you stay and say that, and I will see you again soon. Okay, so I decided, as with all the other pages in my ledger journal, that I would start with some washi tape along the centre. I just feel that it just helps to protect this journal a little bit more, because the paper isn't as thick as some, and I don't want it to really soak through. I do tend to use quite a lot of very wet mediums, which might not be the right thing to do, but I like to test my paper to the limits. So I've got this washi tape that's like a film strip. I bought it from an Etsy shop. I will list what I use in the description box below. I probably won't link things like this because I can't remember where I bought them from, but they are, if you search in certain areas, you can find similar products. And this one is Phases of the Moon washi tape, and I got it amongst a whole load of other washi tapes a long time ago. I just thought these two would go really nicely with the theme of the page. So I'm using the Liquitex Professional Matte Medium to stick them all down as I usually do. I will, if I add any links, none of them are affiliated, so they are for your information. So I don't earn anything from them. So do please check out your local suppliers as well, and also what's in your own stash, because often you will probably have things that are very similar that you can also use. Now, this is the tissue paper that was from Harry Potter Land. Warner Brothers Studio Tour, which is the one in the UK. We've been a few times. I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan, I have to say. I've watched the films because I've watched the films multiple times with my children, but I've never read the books. My oldest has read the books. I'm not sure if the others have actually ever read the books, but I love going because I like the whole behind the scenes, the things with the props and the costumes and the animatronics and all the sort of behind the scenes stuff. I think it's really fascinating, and it is a fantastic day out. And we went when it was Harry Potter in the Snow, so it was lovely Christmassy, just the weekend before Christmas last year, and it was really lovely to go. And they give you this beautiful tissue paper. So I have decided to do some stenciling. I've sort of got a theme going in this book, I've realised, this ledger journal. Every page I'm starting with washi tape, often with a bit of collage, and I'm using stenciling with texture on each page, and I think I might keep that going. I might have that as a bit of a theme. I don't tend to do themed art journals or sketchbooks, but I just thought now I've started doing it on every page, I might carry it on. And you will often see that I do sort of follow the same layout quite often. And I find that that's really handy. If ever you want to do something but you're not quite sure, looking back at something you've already done or going back to something you like is always a really nice way of creating. And it sort of cuts out some of that block that you might get straight away because you know where you're going. And you can always switch up the materials, you can switch up the stencil, you can switch up the colours, and then it looks totally different even though it's the same process. So this stencil is by Asher Marquette and it is Sunken Atlantis, and I'm using the grit paste from Tim Holtz. I can't remember if I already said that. Now these are pigment powders from Pretty Gets Gritty and Dirty Gurty, which are sort of the same company. So the explosion powders, which are from Pretty Gets Gritty, have mica in, and the Drunken dusts, which are from Dirty Gurty, don't. They're a flat colour. So I start with the flat colour, which is called Moonshine. And even though in the pots they look like they're one colour, they are lots of different pigments brought together. So if you sprinkle and spritz and don't mix them too much, you will get little flecks of different colours. So that was the sort of idea I was going for, and I wanted to focus my colour mostly on those stenciled areas because I thought they looked like quite funky moons. So I was going for that sort of look, and I chose colours that had a bit of a moon or night sky sort of colour about them. So that's why I started with the Moonshine. And here I wanted to dry it off because I wanted to try and keep the colour as it was, because it was not all mixed together too much. I wanted to be able to keep those little speckles. And I let a little bit drip, but I didn't want it too much. Normally I really flood the powders and really let them drip. So now I'm adding on a little bit of the explosion powder, which is called Zeus, which when it's all mixed, no, I'm not. That is a lie. I am doing Hades, which when it looks mixed together, it's a silver colour. But I wanted that just in the centres of the moons. I'm going to call them moons, even though they're not. And I just wanted that little hint of silver, like, silvery moonlight. Now, this is the Zeus. Now, this is very black. So if you sprinkle it and spritz it and don't let it mix, you again get lots of different colours. If you do what I just did, which was to put it in a bowl and add water, you do get more of a black. And I thought, because it's got a little bit of shimmer and it went with the other products I was using, I would just add a little bit around. I wanted it to sort of have a bit of a night sky feel, but not too intense. So if I use something like an acrylic paint, or even sometimes my pencils or anything like that, it can be very intense. Whereas this, I knew I could water it out and get a much more sort of moody look, I suppose. It's got quite a moody, cloudy sort of look going on. And I just wanted that to be around those 3 circles and not across the whole page. I like to leave with this ledger journal quite a lot of that ledger text coming through. And, you know, because that's the whole point of the journal. So to me, if I cover it all up, then I really might as well just use a plain journal, you know, rather than this one. Now here is the Spooky Personas book, and I had already gone through and decided, well, I sort of had already decided when I was doing the flip through what I thought I would use. I was having real trouble with that book flipping shut then. So I wanted a bird and I wanted a persona, a figure. And so I went for these 2. Now I'm cutting them so that I don't cut bits out, if you know what I mean. So the bits that are left in the book stay in the book. I'm also choosing one of the moon sentiments. I thought these were beautiful and I thought they would go really nicely with the whole sort of theme of the page. Because I had a lot of texture on the page with the texture paste and the washi tape and everything, I'm putting the collage onto some very thin card. And I first of all got rid of a bit of the bulk of the paper, mostly because I didn't want to stick it all down and then have to, I didn't want to cut it out finely and then have to cut it out again, but also I didn't want too much left because I wanted to make sure I was putting the glue in the right place. So I've got a silicone bone folder, which is really handy, and I'm just sort of burnishing over the image just to make sure that any glue underneath is spread out and also goes right to the edges. And I was giving it a chance here to dry. Now I cut it still once it wasn't thoroughly dry. I would recommend that really you leave it and make sure that the glue has totally dried before you start cutting it out, because you can get bits of tears if your glue is, you know, still wet as you are trying to cut around with the scissors. So now that has been stuck to the card, even though I'm pretty sure it wasn't totally dry, I wanted to cut it right to the edge of the image. Now those little legs are very little, but I did manage it. A tip I would give is if you've ever got something that's really like fine, as in a skinny leg, sometimes if you put a little bit of sellotape on the back of your card and then cut through the sellotape and the card, it just gives it a little bit more security that it won't break, because the sellotape's plastic, it sort of has a little bit more, well, I can't think of what the word is, stability, rigidity, one of those words. So that's a little tip. If you've ever got like little flimsy legs, little flimsy arm, little flimsy twigs, things like that, that can help. The other thing that I do in a moment when I go around the legs is I don't worry about getting right to the edge with them. What I do is I leave, if there's any little white bits, I'm not worried, because then what I do is I go in with a pen and just fill those in. You know, don't always feel that you have to be cutting things out perfectly. Use your pens, use your inks, use your pencils to add in any bits that you end up cutting off, or that you end up not cutting quite to the line, because sometimes, you know, you're just not going to be able to cut that little tiny leg out. So here's where I use the pen, and it's a Unipin pen, but I mean any brown pen. This one is a sepia and it's a brush tip, which means it's really nice for going around the edges. The one thing I would say is that I have ruined some pens by going around the edges of collage images and ephemera. So just do be aware that sometimes if you are keeping on going round around the edges with your pens, it can damage sort of softer tips. So I didn't think you'd want to see me cut them all out. So here I am. I've cut out the two images, and I also cut down the sentiment into 3 pieces. Now this here is some, I do believe it's called film strip ribbon. It's like an acetate ribbon. It's by Tim Holtz. It's in the Ideaology range. I think did I struggle to find that? Was it something else I struggled to find? I can't remember now. But this is actually the first time I've used it. I bought it a little while, well, I bought it last year, and this is the first time I've actually used it. I'm putting the glue onto where you can see through, and to be fair, because it's a clear gel-like glue, it actually squishes down. So I'm just sticking on my images again with the gel glue. It's the Pinflair glue gel, but I actually decided to stick the sentiment down just with a normal white acrylic glue because they were a bit thinner. So if you've enjoyed this video, do please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, it would be fantastic if you could do that too. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, bye bye.